that we have here in sports, Cameron. The first thing that that people ask me about industry, I mean, I just talked about how just boring it is. We need new voices, and when I got a chance, here's another capper that was capping in our chat, excelling in our chat, and we got to meet him at Pubapalooza, meet him and his wife. She's cool as ice, and immediately everybody who was down there gravitated towards this next guest. He became one of the stars of our NBA programming last year, and he's only going to become a bigger and bigger face on our channel, and he's got no ceiling. I mean, we will hold him on our channel as long as we can before ESPN comes calling, and he begins his second season here. You can find him every Friday. We're going to try to nail down this 1 p.m. Eastern slot. We're a little bit late today, but we're going to try to nail down this 1 p.m. Eastern slot. And I'm really excited about what he's capable of and having him here as one of our NBA experts. So please welcome star of the Trill OG play of the day, Houston, Texas in the house, Mr. LJ from H-Town.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slab. 420 highway smoking with that boy Dabby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Connor Mack.
LJ, what's good, man? How are you?
What's going on, Jimmy? Happy Friday to you, sir. Second year, Jimmy. Very excited. The NBA is back. Love doing these shows with you. And honorable of me being on the show the second year. I wore my famous Tupac shirt because I debuted this shirt, first show on your show. So let's go, Jimmy. Excited. Let's get to the NBA.
Let's go, my man. We'll be tracking you all season long. The highlight of your season last year was your performance at Pubapalooza. I'm not entirely sure how much. I screwed up one bet. I screwed up a couple of bets, but you still you had to have put $500 in my pocket on that Friday show. Mm-hmm. I know you crushed it. I made a couple mistakes on my just going off on my own, but you crushed it. And I'm very, very excited. I've been studying what went wrong for me last year. Mm-hmm. And sort of like what Mally Mal was inferring is unders for me went wrong. Now, I love unders, and I'm not just going to leave it. But so far this year, we're through 2 days, and I haven't bet a total. Now, a mistake I made, and I didn't take the small plus 1.5 plus 2.5. If I had it, I'd be sitting here in the black. The Brooklyn Nets plus 2.5. Instead, I took the plus 120. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that will all even out in the end, but it hurt. I'd be sitting here plus, and I'm not. We cashed with the Sixers plus 6. I would like to personally focus on sides. That's what I plan on doing right now. Wait till there's enough information that we can stand behind and not have this small sample size. But we have a big, juicy NBA card, and we got LJ ready to rock. The cappers in the chat are very excited about everything that you've done here on this channel and the opportunities that you've created. And it's so important, it's so important, so crucial. In watching, you remind me of watching Razor quit his job. Mm-hmm. Because it's all about what you put in, the work you put in, and you get rewarded for your work. And that's what you've done here. You've earned all these opportunities, and you're going to get many, many, many more. Razor Sharp picks now 2 for 2 with the Belmont picks that he dropped in the chat as well. That Exacta paid just under 24-1. Let's get to work. LJ, let's get to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. We've already got a couple looks. I should touch on this. And Ren Most, I did copy your... Sure, because it is a good Bobano Judge Me shirt. I think we just nailed the Bobano shirt. We will steal the Judge Me from Peter. And because we're going to have the pink Peter Judge Me shirt, but the Judge Me with Boban's face and the drink a lot, bet a lot, win a lot. Judge Me is so good, Rem. Sammy Comer gave us Magic -2 and the Kings first half -2. I still have not moved on the Magic to win the division. We'll discuss that when the Magic game comes up. But let's get to work right now. Move over here to the bottom. Okay, here we go. 7 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Pistons 0-1 thus far, but they look pretty good doing it. At the Charlotte Hornets, 1-0 at Spectrum Center, Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, I cashed on the Hornets. Oh, by the way, so I meant to send this to our guy, Jose, and all of this will be up starting next week. Every single person's up to date completely starting on Tuesday. But I'm now, with the win last night, I'm 2-3 in NBA. Obviously not, where I want to be, but 2-3, down 1.1 unit. My average line's plus 100. I'm going to let that go. I'm fine with a -110 average line. I'm going to start taking the smaller points. Maybe I'm overreacting from one non-tip-in, but it is what it is. Let's go here, LJ. We have Detroit, Charlotte. Immediately after, and this is so important to say these things and talk about these things. BJ's best bet is in. I'm going to copy and paste that. Immediately, I wanted to bet Charlotte. Immediately. Why? Because I just cashed on them. Remember the great Ron Jossel, probably, arguably the best Filipino comedian in the world. Ron Jossel said to me when I was a young comic, he wasn't much older than me, but he said to me, your subconscious is an asshole. Don't listen to it. That's what he told me, and it works for all facets in life. I have a bias because I just cashed on Charlotte. So, of course, I want to go back and back him again. My subconscious is an asshole. Don't listen to it. Now, we had to move towards Charlotte. But why did it open at 4? How did it move to 3.5? If you are on Charlotte, you can say, look, it's now at 4.5, and that's valid. But when I started the show this morning, it was at 3.5, and I said, thank God I didn't move on Charlotte. I want Charlotte just like everybody else. Detroit comes in looking good. This line now is moved in Charlotte's direction. Also, Pinnacle's moved it to 4.5, and the other books haven't. Does that mean we should now move on Charlotte? I don't know. This total, because, both things are at play. Detroit just looked really good as well. Opened up at 225. It's now at 226. Detroit comes in off that tough 103-102 loss at the Heat on Wednesday. Hornets coming off that really impressive 116-110 win at home over the Hawks in their opener. Was that a really impressive home win, or do the Hawks just suck on the road? Wait for us, LJ. Game 1, Pistons-Hornets.
Yeah, I believe the latter you just said. The Hornets just suck on the road.
Oh, the Hawks, you mean?
The Hawks. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Hawks. And I'm not mad at you taking Charlotte at home, Jimmy. LaMelo Ball is back. He had 15 and 10 assists. So he's controlling that offense for Charlotte. Now, the reason why I don't like these two teams is because there's no veteran leadership for the most part on these two teams. I like to key in on teams that's going to have some discipline, you see what I'm saying, under pressure, calm down, and just sustain the offense. These two teams are too much erratic for me. They turned the ball over a lot. Charlotte had 19 turnovers, 17 points off. Detroit had 17 turnovers, 25 points off in the first game. So, and Detroit doesn't play well in this spot. 21 losses as a road dog last year. So I just passed on the game, Jimmy, for the most part on the side. I was looking at for as a first quarter, first half, under, over, and the numbers are pretty right there. The first half may go over if we see some scoring, but like you said, this is the second game of the season. We have to tread lightly. We don't want to dive in too early because we need enough data to make a key bet on these teams. But I am going to take a prop in this game, Jimmy. Cade Cunningham is back in the lineup for Detroit. He was missing last year. He missed probably most of the season for the most part. And I believe he's a key component in that offense. They do have Monty Williams now. He's a good coach for the most part. So I think he can get some, sustainability in that offense, get good shots for these players because, like I just mentioned, they're young. And looking at Stewart and Durant, they're very defensively, so it's hard to score on them in the paint for the most part. So for that reason, I'm going to take Cade Cunningham's over 34.5 PRA -150. He had a 42 the last game. And like I said, he could put up double-digit points. He could probably get you right at 20. He can get you probably 10 assists. and get you a couple rebounds. And I'm pretty sure he's going to keep going over that 34.5 until these books raise it. So Cade Cunningham over 34.5 PRA is my play, but I'm passing on the side.
LJ's first bet of the 23-24 seasons in Cade Cunningham over 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Regis Austin is on Cade Cunningham, just points and assists. So he's leaving out the rebounds out, leaving the rebounds out. That's at 29.5 here. We are locked and loaded. Johnny K says Cade going to be a monster. I was highlighting the comments in the chat. Jose will be doing that as well. And it's Sky Dragon on Detroit, Johnny K on Detroit, Jarek White on the over 225.5. Rants thinking that it's probably going to go over. Coin saying this line should be Charlotte -3. And my first thought, as soon as I had this card in front of me, was Hornets. And we have to remember why that's happening. And that's why I implore all of you guys to read The Undoing Project. And I do it, every few months by Michael Lewis. I implore you to read it. It's going to help everything, every decision you make in life. And the first chapter is basketball. And it's the best chapter of any book I've ever read before. It's the first chapter by Michael Lewis, who wrote Moneyball. And the book's called The Undoing Project. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. Denver Nuggets 1-0 at Memphis Grizzlies 0-1. We're at FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. Talk about the line history here in this one. We have a total that just dropped to 220.5. It just dropped 1 minute ago. This total started at 225.5. And just like yesterday, and we'll see if it carries on throughout the card, but the sharps have been hammering unders, and we've seen these totals move 5 points towards the under. We have like WNBA market movement early in the year right now. From a spread perspective here, we're sitting with Memphis at +5.5 at -102. This opened up +3.5. So we have a 2-point move on the side, a 5-point move on the total, all at Pinnacle. Let's check out the cash flow. And I apologize for not talking about the cash flow in the first game, which I should do. So why don't I just, I don't mean to confuse, but in the Pistons game, you have 26% of the tickets and 39% of the cash on Charlotte. It really surprised me because I thought that the public would be hammering Charlotte, but I know Detroit's going through the same thing, but 33% of the tickets and 88% of cash on the under. In the game that we're discussing right now, Denver, Memphis, 86% of the tickets and 91% of cash is on Denver, and we've seen it move 2 points. 57% of tickets are on the under, and we don't have a cash flow. Denver comes in off that season opening 119-107 win at home over the Lakers on Wednesday. While the Grizz come in off that 111-104 loss at home versus the Pelicans on Wednesday, and that was the one spot that sort of I beat myself up for not taking the Pelicans. Dutch Boy Fresh, very confident with the Pelicanos. Take it away for us here, LJ. Nuggets, Grizzlies.
Yeah, Denver, like you said, they look very good versus the Lakers opening night. They're the champions, and everybody's going to be coming after them to try to dethrone them. Memphis last year was a great team competing at home, especially on Fridays. Everybody knows my trend of Memphis on Fridays, and that's one of the reasons why we cashed last time in Palooza, Jimmy. It was Memphis and the Rockets, so it was a home game for Memphis. But Memphis looks totally different now, and the reason why is because Ja is suspended. And Memphis only had 2 fast break points the last game, Jimmy. Last year and the year before, they've been number 1. That is a big discrepancy right there. And that's going to hurt them for a while until Ja comes back. And for that reason alone, I'm going to be on Denver minus the I have 4.5, but I endorse the 6. I don't believe Memphis can score enough points for Denver. Denver is just too high power right now. They could come at you in different waves. Jokic, Murray, they can come off the bench and give you points too. So Caldwell Pope hitting threes. I mean, I just think Denver's going to be in a groove for the first part of the season just to prove people that they deserve to be the champions. And Memphis is just vulnerable right now without their superstar player. And like I just mentioned, I'm going to be on the 6, -6 for Denver for a game. And I'm going to be on Jokic. Everybody knows you got to continue to ride the money train. He leads all the teams in points, rebounds, and assists. So I'm going to take the +8 assists and Denver to win at -129. And I would endorse the triple-double too, because he gets a triple-double pretty much every single game. And it's at plus 150. So that's a good number. He's averaged 8 assists last year on the road. So I believe he gets that 8 assists. And that's why, because it's juiced at 9.5, I believe. So he has to get 10 to get the single pret. So I just, ladder it down and just take Denver to win, because I don't believe Memphis can beat Denver right now the way they're playing. So Jokic plus 8 assists, Denver to win minus 129, and a triple-double plus 150 for Jokic. And I'm going to take the -6 Denver full game.
Well, we can get you better than -6.
Okay.
First off, because it's basically 5.5s across the board right now. So let's do that first. If you did, there's options. I mean, the -6 is plus 101, the -5 is minus 119, and the -5.5 is minus 108.
So you don't have a 4.5? There's no 4.5?
Yeah, the -4.5 is minus 131.
Yeah, give me the 5. The minus the 5, yeah.
-5 and minus 119. That's available right now at Pinnacle. Over 8 assists and Nuggets for Jokic. Over 8 assists and Nuggets minus 129. Jokic triple-double plus 150. Nuggets -5 and minus 119. We move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The New York Knicks 0-1 to start the year against the Hawks 0-1. We're at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Move over to the market here. We've seen this market move towards the New York Knicks. They opened up at +2. Was it immediate? No, I guess it took about 4.5 hours before it went to +1. Then back to 1.5, and now at 1. Although you see a lot of pick'ems here right now. Not at Pinnacle. This +1 is juiced, so it's not a pick'em. When we get to it's pretty close. So from a total scenario here, we got a 229.5. This opened up at 230, got up to 230.5 initially, down to 229, and we're sitting at 229.5. So not a lot of movement here on this one. Let's pull up the cash flow for this Knicks spot. Knicks Hawks on the total, 26% of the tickets and 58% cash on the under, but doesn't seem like the books are too concerned about that. 59% of the tickets and 61% cash on the Knicks, and it's moved slightly in their direction. Regis Austin's on the Knicks first half of money line, and we have Coin saying missed the boat on New York. I don't think it's moved far enough for there to be real concern here. Let's take we'll just set it up. Knicks opened up their season with that tough 108-104 loss at home versus Celtics on Wednesday. I got the 4 and I pushed. I guess I was fortunate. Hawks opened up their season with that 160-110 loss at the Hornets on Wednesday. Feels like they're going to be a great fade against poor teams on the road. Maybe you don't want to fade them against good teams when they're dogs on the road, but it feels like against weak opposition, they're going to be really good fade like they were last year. Take it away for us here, LJ. Knicks Hawks.
Yeah, I didn't go dive into this game for the most part. I would lean under. My numbers say it's going to go under, but I didn't bet it, Jimmy. I just want to, like I said, tread lightly on the season, watch these teams, see how they perform, coming off of last year. Now, the Knicks were good as a road dog, 2014-1, so they do play well in the spot last year, but I just have to see the teams. I like Brunson. I think he's a good compare with Randall, but there's been a lot of trade rumors going around with the Knicks too, and it's been rumored to go over there. They're going to give up the whole starting lineup plus 2 picks. So, I don't know if there's some distractions in the locker room right now. And for us, the Hawks, like I said, they play much better at home. But I have to see, the cohesiveness of the teams right now coming out of the new season. So I just passed on this game, Jimmy. I have nothing in this game.
We move on. A big one. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Miami Heat 1-0 on the season against the Boston Celtics. 1-0 on the season. We're at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Let's go into the line history here for this one. The total sitting at 218. It opened up at 217.5. It dropped initially, and then it's come back up. It actually got up to 218.5 before it dropped to 218. From a spread scenario here, we have Boston now at -8.5. They opened up at -7.5. It's just been moving in their direction. So we have an 8.5 right now. That's a lot of points against the Heat team that underperformed in that first start, or maybe they're just not that good because we know that Dan Kelly took their alternate line win total under at 40. 2.5 or 41.5 under at plus 170. 66% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on the Boston Celtics. The line's moving in their direction. 72% of tickets and 97% of cash on the under, and the line's not moving towards the under. And that was my first initial thought, was the under, with the hostility between these two squads. Celtics, did they look great against the Knicks? The Heat certainly underwhelmed against the Pistons. Celtics working in new pieces. Take it away for us, LJ. Heat, Celtics.
Yeah, everybody knows me about Boston. Last year, I never bet them just because they depended on that three-point shot too much. And they continue to do that, Jimmy. Porzingis was the leading shooter at 3.5 of 9. He had a good percentage, but he still shot 5 threes. Tatum shot 3. They shot 30% from the three-point line, put up 39. So they're still going to continue to do that. But all that said, I'm going to change that. I'm going to look to bet Boston this year because I like the team. Drew Holiday's there now. Porzingis is there now too. So they can maybe be a viable threat in this Eastern Conference. So I'm going to give them a shot this year. When you're looking at Boston, you're probably going to look more about the first half. They were number 1 in first half margin last year at home. They were +6 versus the Knicks the last game too in the first half. So if you want to bet them that way, I would prefer to bet them that way. But I just want to do it with a different team because the Heat, they may not be that good right now. They tend to, push it up towards the latter of the season, but they don't turn the ball over. They're very disciplined. And for that reason, I'm just going to stay off of this game and just watch it. I looked at the first half numbers. They're pretty much even. And like you just mentioned, the hostility that they had last year in the playoffs may come into play in this game. So I'm just going to sit back, watch it, analyze it, and just collect the data and just let these two teams, fight each other out, on national TV tonight.
Yeah, my initial thought was this is too many points, but seeing the market show no concern is tricky. It's tricky to see the market show no concern here with the Heat is this big of a dog. And let's move on. Next up, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Oklahoma City Thunder. Good God, did they look good in that first start at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's go over there. So Garland game time decision right now. We know Jarrett Allen is out and both Williams are out for KC. Let's get into the line history for this spot. Thunder, Cavs. We have Cleveland sitting at -4 at -106. This opened up at 4 and was, OKC immediately started getting bet 3.5 to 2.5, and it stopped there. And that was at 9 this morning. So it went down to 2.5. Then we saw the buyback 3, 3.5, and 4. So now we're exactly back where we started. So we have the U-shaped movement here with that one. From a total side of things, we're sitting with 228.5. This opened up at 226.5. The initial move was towards the under, and then it just started climbing. Now we see it at 228.5. Let's get into the cash flow here for this Thunder Cavs spot. We have 40% of tickets and 90% of cash on the under. So why is it moving up now? 57% of the tickets and 48% of cash on the Thunder. So there have been big bets that have come in on the Cavaliers to tighten this all up. Take it away for, and the Cavs, of course, come off that 114-113 win at Brooklyn without the services of Jarrett Allen. They looked like they were in control for a lot of it, and then Brooklyn came back. Thunder coming off extremely impressive 124-104 win at the Bulls on Wednesday. That caused the Bulls to immediately have a player-only meeting after the debacle. Take it away, LJ. Thunder, Cavs.
And that's one of the reasons why I just stayed away, because of that reason right there. One game into the season, you're already doing a players-only meeting. I mean, something is going on in Chicago. And far as Oklahoma City, they play well on the road. It was going back to last year, 20-12-3. So I guess that's against the spread, I believe. So it's been a good record for them. They fight, they scrap, and they're a good second half team too. So when they're down at halftime, you can bet OKC live for the most part. It was a good casher last year, so I'm thinking that it's going to continue this year as well. But like I said, I like Shai Gilgeous. He's putting up 30 a game. I don't see how the Bulls keep him from Cavs keep him from scoring 30. But the Cavs are a defensive team, especially at home. So I just want to see these games play out for the most part. Donovan Mitchell had a good game last game. They had to hold off the Nets because they only won by 1. And like I said, OKC put up 124, I believe, on the Bulls. But was that just because the Bulls wasn't ready to play? Who knows? But for the most part, I stayed away from the game and I'll just pass.
Roll on to the next spot on this board, 8 p.m. Eastern. My Toronto Raptors 1-0 on the season, first road game of the year against the team that waxed them in the play-in, and that was hard to watch. DeMar DeRozan just, clearly the best 2 players on the floor played for the Chicago Bulls in that one. United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This total is sitting at 217, and we saw a real impressive defensive performance by the Raptors in week 1, but do we want to, take that to heart after one game and have some extreme take about how great they are defensively? Because this is what we expected to happen last year. This is exactly what we expected to happen now last year. The continuity and the great defense right off the hop, and we were a horrible defensive team throughout. How were we so bad this year? It didn't make any sense. Now OG able to defend everybody on the floor. It's pretty impressive. And Scotty Barnes taking that next step. This total opened up at 217. It immediately went up to 218. It's back at 217. Let's get into the side here for this Raptors spot. Raptors open up at +2. They're now +2.5. A half-point move towards the Chicago Bulls. Generally, you would think that the Raptors would be sitting there, all summer thinking about what the Bulls did to them. Do I believe that this group of players did that? No, I don't. I wish they did. 71% of the tickets and 86% of the cash is on the Bulls. So, people expecting a bounce back performance. 29% of the tickets and 69% of cash on the under. That's something that I, believe in. So what did we see from that 97-94 win at home over Minnesota? Was we saw transition offense that looked really strong. We saw Achua, who has not been given any kind of extension, take the most important minutes over Pirtle. And we saw OG and Scotty Barnes step up defensively. And the Bulls got waxed and had a players-only meeting that we just touched on. Take it away for us here, LJ. Raptors, Bulls.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just too much. It's up in the air for me right now. I don't know how both of these teams are going to respond. Like we just mentioned about the Bulls, they have to show us that they're going to put up a better performance that they did the last game. And the Raptors, I trust them more at home than I do on the road. That's just something that I've, paid attention to the last couple of years. And as far as defensively, I think they're going to be solid for the most part. And for that reason, my Jimmy, OG, 2+ steals, +110 is what I'm going to be on. I mean, he's a defensive, paralysis, man. He defends the paint and he can defend the wing. And he can take the best matchup on the other team. So look for him to be on, Levine at times. Look at him to be on DeRozan at times. He can move around and guard different positions. So I like the Raptors as far as defensively. I'd rather bet them at home, but I have to be on OG's 2+ steals because that's what he does. So
I wish the Bulls looked good in that first game.
Yeah.
Because if it was the other way around, if the Raptors knocked the Bulls out in the play-in, I would think DeMar DeRozan would be waiting for another shot at the Raptors. He'd be sitting there, not dwelling on all summer, but he'd be thinking about it. God, I want to smash the Raptors when I see him next.
Yeah.
Did Siakam do that all summer? Did Scotty and OG and
that's your team, so I trust you.
I don't know. I'm just telling you what I think, and I think if they did that, then it'd just be a different basketball team. Now, saying all that, I loved what I saw in game 1, and I'm happy that DG got me on the over 36.5 wins for them. I'm thankful for that.
Okay.
LJ on OG 2+ steals, and that was at +110.
Yes, sir.
2 or more steals at +110. Let's and Sky Dragon says I missed a Heat breakdown. He says you get the line, but the market has never liked this Heat team, and they always get up for games like this.
Yep, that's why I stayed off.
Yeah, DG, it just didn't make sense to me. It made no sense to me. I want the Heat. here, but why would they be so disrespected? It's moved to 8.5 at Pinnacle. Well, why, Pinnacle's such a sharp book. Why would they move it so far? I mean, God, I'd like to be on them though. Let's move on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, LJ's Houston Rockets 0-1. First game of the year was not good. It was horrible. A 30-point loss at Orlando on Wednesday. Talk about a wake-up call. Against the Spurs, we're at Frostbank Center in San Antonio, Texas. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the Spurs sitting at -3, -104. This opened up at -1.5. Market moving towards the Spurs. From a total side of things here, we're sitting at 225. 225. This opened up at 228.5. We have a 3.5 point move to the under. Take a look at the cash flow for this spot. 53% of the tickets, 87% of cash on the under, 53 and 87, and it's gone up 3 points. Then you have 23% of tickets on the Rockets, but 50% of the cash, and yet the market is moving in the direction of the Spurs. Rockets coming off that ugly 116-86 loss that we were speaking of. Spurs coming off the 126-119 loss at home to the Mavericks on Wednesday. I mean, the Spurs they were fun to watch. I guess I'll leave it at that. Jose was at the game, and Vassell scored 23, Keldon Johnson 17, and Wembanyama was in foul trouble, and it was an issue. But he was 6 from 9 from the field, 5 boards, 2 assists, and a block in 23 minutes, and he scored 9 points in the final 7 minutes. So, and I like everything he's saying. I like him. I mean, I don't know how you don't like the kid. I like everything he's saying. Take it away for us here, LJ. Rockets, Spurs.
Yeah, I like Wemby too. And he could put up some numbers. He just got to get his feel into the NBA, get his feet wet. And I believe he's going to be a threat. He's on the Spurs, so that's not saying a lot, But hey, as far as him individually, I think he's going to be a nice threat in this league. But as far as this game, Jimmy, everybody knows where I'm going in this game. Houston, defensive efficiency, they've been bottom the last 4 years. They've allowed the most points of like 120 points the last 4 years, and turnovers, 19 turnovers last game. They've been at the bottom the last 2 years in turnovers. So I'm going over, Jimmy. I'm going to take the full game over, 226, and I'm going to take the first quarter over 55 because the Spurs were 47, 33, and 2 to the first quarter over last year. That was second in the NBA. And the first quarter total, the first game versus Dallas and the Spurs was at 79. And the total's at 55 right now. So I believe that number is way too low for the Spurs first quarter. 24-17 at home in the first quarter over last year, which was second in the NBA. So I believe the first quarter goes over 55, Jimmy. Full game goes over 226. Everybody in the chat saying the Rockets suck. I agree. The Rockets do suck. We do have a new coach in a month. What's his name? I don't know how to say his name. Yuka, whatever his name is. I don't know. But yeah, he's going to try to bring defense to the team. But it's going to take some time. We have some young players. We got some new players, though, Fleet and Dylan Brooks, But like I said, I have to see the cohesiveness of the team going through the season. But right now, let's just stick to the deficiency that the Houston Rockets have turning the ball over. And the Spurs turn the ball over as well, too. But the Rockets are number one. So that's just points in this game. Over 226 and first quarter over.
I did state it wrong. So I was saying the total was going up. I apologize for that. It's gone down from 228.5. So the sharp money is on the under 53% of tickets, 87% cash. And then we've seen it drop. And maybe it's dropped too low right now because LJ, you're getting a 225.
Yes.
Over 225 for LJ. Over 225 at -108. Over 225 -108. And then on the first quarter, you're getting 55 is at -111.
Okay.
Over 55.
Can you get it lower? 54? Is it
yes, 54 is -133.
Yeah, that's too juice.
54.5 is -121.
Yeah, just 50, the first one.
55 at -111.
Yeah, we do that
for LJ.
Udoka, that's his name. That's the coach of the Rockets. Udoka. Thank you. Sorry, I had a brain freeze for him.
It's all good. It's all good. Imagine what he lost. It's pretty amazing.
He got a second chance though. That's
yeah,
all
but
that matters.
He could have been the perfect coach for that Celtics squad.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe Missoula is, but LJ's on the over 225 or over 225 and the over 55. LJ looking in the face of this market move towards the under and saying it doesn't make sense here. Sky Dragon says, I think the 226 is too high for a Houston game and probably fair for a Spurs game. All right, let's move on. And as we're going over here, I'm trying to keep my quantity of action low.
Mm-hmm.
But sitting here, I feel like I have to take the Heat at this number, and I hate that I feel this way, but I really, really do. We're going to expect the Celtics team to smash this. Now, were the Celtics thinking about the Heat all summer? That's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was a hugely important series to get, to Graceland, right? No, we're not talking about a playing game. But I just feel like the Heat are staring me in the face. And I wish if the Bulls had looked good, I'd be all over the Raptors. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And I just don't want to take to heart too much of what I've just seen. Let's move on to the next game on the board. We had our guy Tone Miggins give us the levels play of the day. Kyrie Irving against his former club, over 5.5 assists, a plus 105 from our guy Tone Miggins.
I like that.
So let's take over, look at the line history here for Brooklyn, Dallas, the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. We have a total that's sitting at 230 right now. This has gone up from 226, 4 points of movement towards the over. And we get into the point spread here for this spot. We are sitting at -6 for Dallas. Dallas -6. This opened up at 6, moved to 6.5, and has come back to 6. And I did not like what I saw from the Dallas Mavericks in that basketball game.
Mm-hmm.
We have 96% of the tickets on the over. We don't have a cash flow. I don't know why. There's 17,000 tickets counted, but everybody on the over, and the market, moving in that direction heavily. Then you have 56% of the tickets on Brooklyn, but 47% of the cash. The thing about what we saw from Dallas is just that Luka's just cold-blooded. He's just, there's nothing else to say. Like, what he did was that step back 3 with 2 hands in his face. I mean, there's nothing you can. Yeah, you can't do anything. Can't do anything. 33 points, 14 boards, 10 assists. He looked better and better and better. He just looks better and better and better. He's in shape because of the World Cup, and he's a dangerous, dangerous man. Brooklyn comes in off that tough 114-113 loss at home to Cleveland on Wednesday. Take it away for us here, LJ. And let me move this here. I'll make sure. Take it away for us here, LJ. Nets, Mavericks.
Yeah, man. You said it. Luka's cold-blooded. And there's no reason why we should take a side in this game because Dallas doesn't play well as a home favorite at home. It's something that they just don't do. And like Tone just mentioned, Kyrie's playing his old team. So it could be more about him, showing, getting back at his old team more than the team trying to be in cohesiveness and try to be, win the game. So I just think I don't like the Nets the way they played as well. They had to fight back versus Cleveland, but your bench player, Thomas, was the leading scorer on your team. And that's something that I don't like. I mean, a scorer starting should be the leading scorer on your team, not a person coming off the bench. So I just think the Nets are just erratic right now. I like Mikal Bridges for the most part, so I will be keying in on him throughout the season. But the total may go over just because Dallas and Brooklyn don't play defense for the most part. But Luka's at home. Already know, Jimmy. I'm on the over 46 PRA, -117. He had a 56 PRA the last game, like you just mentioned. He averaged a 49 PRA last year, and he averaged a 50 PRA at home. So I believe that number is too low. They're going to have to raise it to 50. So until they raise it to 50, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep smashing it. Because like you just mentioned, you can't stop Luka. I mean, he can hit you at any different ways. And when the game is on the line, I trust him to at least get a better play, throw an assist, get the rebound, or even score. So I do believe he's going to be doing that in all facets of the game. And I wanted to take this bet. I'm not going to make it official, but everybody should look at it. His triple-double is +328. The last game he played the Nets last year, he had a triple-double. And guess what he just had last game? A triple-double. So if you want to take that, I may do it as a small sprinkle personally. but I'm not making it official for the show. But that's a good look. Lucas triple-double. But his PRA 46.5, I believe is too low, especially at home. So that's my only play in this game.
No Nick Claxton. And he came back after he hurt his ankle. But so you have Daron Sharp, who's going to have to step up in a big way. God, I wish Claxton was out there. What's your 46.5 PRA, Juice?
Minus 117.
Minus 117. God, I wish Nick was out there.
That's the reason why I'm taking it. No defensive presence at the lane.
God, I would like Brooklyn here, but can't at this point. All right, let's move on. 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Clippers 1-0 to start the year, and it was, pretty impressive. Really saw a team that, had continuity. At the Utah Jazz, who looked horrific. Delta Center, Salt Lake City, Utah. Clippers coming off that 123-111 win. Jazz coming off an ugly 130-114 loss at home to the Kings on Wednesday. And I want to go back to Utah as well. They're better than they just looked. And then we have these old guys in elevation to start off the season. I'm not saying they're in bad shape, but it's not going to be easy for them. This opened up minus 3.5, immediately went to 4, but then went back to 3.5. That's important. Now it's at 4.5, so the market's moving towards the clip show. Coin saying Jazz plus 4.5 is best value on the board. If I was sitting here, when this is said and done, and I'm forming my card as we speak, but if I've got the Heat and the Jazz, I feel pretty good about myself. The Jazz was the only spot I was coming in going, I'm going to go right back to the well with. 48% of the tickets, 65% of cash on the Jazz, market moving in the opposite direction. From a total side of things here, we have 25% of the tickets and 64% of cash on the under. 25 and 64 on the under. So let's go to that under right now. 244 points scored in that first Jazz game. I mean, they're just not going to win if scores are that high. You need that rim presence that we expect from Kessler. We need it to be in play here against the Clippers for sure. I mean, this should be a real advantage against Zubac. But this total opened up at 230.5, dropped to 227.5. Take it away for us here, LJ. Clippers, Jazz.
Yeah, Jimmy, I stayed off the game. I couldn't come to a definitive side because I don't know who Utah is. They have a couple of new pieces. I like marketing. He's a walking double-double for the most part, but I just don't know them right now. I have to find out. As far as the Clippers, I just think it's a lot of noise going on there. I mean, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, we already know who they are. They could score, but they also turn the ball over. They had 18 turnovers, 21 points off turnovers the last game. So I don't know what to expect with them going on the road. I like them better at home, the Clippers. I could key in on them, what they do best at home. But on the road, I just think they're a different team. And I don't know what to expect tonight going to Utah. So I just stayed off the game because, like I said, I just have to see the two teams. Now, the first half over is at 110. And the last game, the Clippers and Jazz, Clippers put up 67, Jazz put up 58, which 125. So that may be a good look, the first half over, but I'm not going to make it official. I have to see it continue to hit that number for me to invest in it. So I just stayed off the side in this game.
I'm going to be on the Jazz. I have to go back to the well after the shit kicking. Have to. Let's move on to 10 p.m. Eastern. Orlando Magic at Portland Trailblazers. We're at the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. We have, extremes here. Dichotomy of the situation of these two teams. Magic looks spectacular. Blazers looked awful. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Portland. Well, the total. Let's start with the total is sitting at 222.5. This opened up at 224. It's a 1.5 move towards the under. And then let's take a look at the spread. The spread here is sitting at now 2.5. So this opened up at 2.5 and moved to 3. Now it's back at 2.5. I mean, it's a pretty funny line after how good Orlando looked. You have on the total 52% of the tickets, 65% cash on the under. We've seen it move in that direction. And then from a side, we have 80% of the tickets and 89% of cash on the Orlando Magic, and this line is not moving. So is this the book's gonna milk the public here on the Orlando Magic after the first game. Because I watched the Blazers and I don't want them, but are we getting this real buy low spot early, or does the market not understand how good the Magic are? This is wild. Orlando comes in off an impressive 116-86 win. Blazers come in off that 123-111 loss, and that score flattered them. Take it away for us here, LJ Magic Blazers.
Yeah, that's one of the things, I have to learn more about the market, Jimmy, because if you wasn't concerned with it, I would be all on Orlando. They played well on the road last year, 23-17-1 on the road against the spread. So that was top 4 in the NBA. And Portland, they have a different pieces. Dame's gone now. So where is the scoring going to come from besides Anthony Simons? DeAndre Ayton's over there now. I'm not a fan of DeAndre Ayton. Suns got rid of him for a reason. So there's a lot of moving parts in Portland right now. They gave up a lot of points the last game as well. So if you're looking at an over, would probably be a good look. But can Orlando score enough points to push that number over? That's the question in my mind. And like I said, I like listening to you with the markets because I have no idea how this money moves and things like that. I just trust stats and trust my data. It makes me a definitive, how I'm going to bet. And like I said, I would be all Orlando today if it wasn't for you being concerned about that market. So for that reason, I'm just going to stay off. I don't want to be too much into it, the first couple of games like we mentioned. So for you feeling that way, Jimmy, I'm going to stay off the game.
If we were 30 games into the season, I'd be all over the Blazers.
Yeah.
That just makes no sense. And when the market doesn't make sense, NBA is so tricky in that way. But Joe Yurkovich not scared. He's on Magic moneyline -130. Justin McElvey, though, he's on Portland +3. 101 Benny says Wendell Clark should eat. Don Play says Magic going to eat in the paint. Saturated says Portland stinks. And by the way, coin is interest in that under 228. Okay. Well, that's gonna. I cannot see after watching them play. I usually believe that the cappers that don't watch the games and use advanced models have a better opportunity to succeed than the ones like us who watch a game and have biases. Markel talking about traveling across the country. I mean, that's true, but the idea that Loyalty Chisel has that the Magic just not getting respected by the books. I thought I read that and write that somewhere, but I can't seem to find that now. But he says Loyalty Chisel says my Magic are clearly better, but the spot scares him. And he says Blazers been getting smacked all preseason too. Joe Yurif says east to west is why the line move in home opener. I'm shocked by it. Final game on the board here for our guy LJ from H-Town. Golden State Warriors 0-1 to start out the Chris Paul era at Sacramento Kings, Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Sacramento sitting here at -2.5. It was very impressive what they did against Utah. They opened up at 2, went to 3. Now we're sitting at 2.5 for the Sacramento Kings. And from a total scenario here, we're sitting at 237 right now. This opened up at 240.5. So we have 3.5 points of droppage. Now, we talked about were the Raptors thinking about the Bulls all offseason. Were the Kings thinking about the Warriors? Yes.
You would think so.
Oh, yes, they were. You have to think so. But it's a little different when you're talking about the level that the Kings are at now. When they, Dan Kelly thought they were going to win that series, and they very, very, very almost did. So 50-50 on the money line here for the spread. Sorry. That's my bad. Looking at the wrong thing here. 24% of tickets and 38% of cash on the Golden State Warriors money line. You can imagine that. It's not that way on the spread. On the spreads, 84% of tickets and 97% of cash on the Kings. Why would the market not be moving then? Because the money line action's on the Golden State Warriors, I guess. 42% of the tickets and 88% cash on the over, and yet this total's been dropping. I mean, that's wild. Warriors coming off that 108-104 loss at home to the Suns on Tuesday. They're nonplussed, and the Kings got to feel good about themselves after shanking the Jazz. Take it away, LJ, your final spot on the board, Warriors Kings.
Yeah, I only can look under in this game, but I'm going to stay off just because Golden State is a new team. They have Chris Paul now. So is he going to slow down the possessions now for this team to get them better quality shots instead of just going up and down the court like they usually do? Because when they did that, they turned the ball over a lot. You know, they had some turnovers in the last game too, but I think Chris Paul is going to neutralize that for the most part and get these players quality shots. I don't know if Draymond Green is coming back, so the lineup is kind of up in flux with me as well. I think Klay Thompson is playing out of position. He has to play the 3 now.
Green's out.
Okay, he's out. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to look to bet Golden State until I get their full starting lineup, because I want to see how they work with Klay Thompson at the small forward. I believe he's a spot up shooter, which is a shooting guard. But now Chris Paul is in there. He has to be the point guard. But hey, I just have to see it. It may work, it may not, you know. But as far as Sacramento, they should be having this on the blade, you know, almost beat Golden State last year in the playoffs. So I will look for them to probably come out and fight and try to win the game. But I'm not going to bet it. I just want to sit back and watch it, see how they respond, because I see Chris Paul doing something different with Golden State now. And I want to see how it works out with the starting lineup. And that's one of the reasons why I'm just going to stay off the game.
I don't know how they're going to deal with Sabonis. You know,
yeah, because they're small. They're small.
Wiggins at the 4.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I need to see how they're gonna play out this lineup, because Nurkic had 14 boards on Golden State the first game. So Sabonis boards, that could be a good prop. You know, look at his rebounds, assists, points, all that, because Golden State's small inside. When Looney comes out, you know, they have to play small. So Sacramento can very well take advantage of points in the paint on Golden State.
God, I want the Kings. I just wish they weren't coming off such an impressive performance. You know, I'm interested in the Kings. I'll tell you, my card's going to be very simple. Maybe it's just the Jazz. You know, maybe it's just the Jazz. But I'm certainly thinking about backing the Heat. So right now, I'm betting the Jazz for sure, but I'm certainly thinking about the Heat and the Kings. Just feels like the Kings go all out here after a really impressive start. Doesn't it? I mean, Draymond Green is so important for the Warriors. I mean, you need that toughness so badly. God, the Kings got to be the look, but I just would like to see the market move in their direction. Coins with me on Utah plus 4.5. So at that point, I mean, okay, I've got all day and night here to sit with this spot. LJ from H-Town, let's review his action on his opening card of the season. We have it begin. Here we go with Cade Cunningham over 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Then he's on a same game with Jokic over 8 assists. Is that 8 or more?
Yes, 8+ assists and Denver to win. Yeah,
8+ assists and Nuggets to win at -129. Jokic triple-double plus 150. Nuggets -5 at -119. We're off Knicks, Hawks, and I'm very interested in the Heat. Very interested on the Heat. Ramon is on the Jazz and the Kings. Maybe I should just stay off of that spot. Then Thunder and Cavs. We are off. LJ's on OG Anunoby. 2 or more steals at plus 110. He's on the over 225 in Houston, San Antonio in the first quarter. Over 55 at -111. Tone Miggins gave us Kyrie Irving assists over 5.5 for his levels play today. LJ is on Luka over 46.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Jazz, I'm going to be on Magic Blazers. He stayed off, and I think the Kings are the look too. Rants liking the Clippers and the Kings. LJ, great job. Thank you for rocking with us here on Fridays. This is where you can catch LJ from H-Town and follow him on Twitter at LJ Sports Media. LJ, thank you for making time for us, my guy. Any last words before we put a bow on this one?
Yeah, Jimmy. Like I said, I'm gonna be with you every Friday. You know, God willing, any emergency or anything happens, you know, I love the opportunity that you give me, you know, to come on your show and shoot my expertise in the NBA. And you know, I just love to chat, you know, keep supporting, like you said, at LJ Sports Media on Twitter, you know, Raw Words Podcast on YouTube right now, streaming live. Go like, subscribe, put out NFL plays every week. I'm going to start putting out NBA plays as well. You know, I'm going to get my content up on the show. So because a lot of people are asking for me. They're requesting with me. They want to see me perform. So, Jimmy, I'm going to continue to put in the work. And like I always say, sports betting has changed my life. I found something that I love to do. I'm passionate about it. And people say that I'm good at it. So why not put the work in and see where I can go, Jimmy? So appreciate you all the time, man.
I love it. I love it. There he is, LJ from H-Town. And we're going to be cutting out that segment for our channel. Let's review all action on today's card. Viper MB's on the Devils -1. Barnes over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And he's on the Spurs -2.5. Justin McElvey going back to the Duran prop over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Razor Sharp Picks gave us his Belmont full card. His full card over at Belmont. Here, I'm going to pop it into the chat. And there you guys go. That's Razor's full card at Belmont. In CFL, it's a pretty ugly final week of the season, but the Ticats interest me very, very much. Line's not out yet, but 3 quarterbacks, Powell playing the second half. I'm going to be on them. I'm going to be on the Ticats. In NHL, it's pretty quiet for me. Cousins for Bobano. He's on Cousins for a point at -120. He's on the over 6 in Minnesota, Washington. I'm going to be on the Wild first period. Bobano's on the Canes. Team total over 4.5 at +145. Pimp slot play of the day is St. Louis Blues first period over 1.5. Bobano's on the Coyotes at +118. In MLB World Series Game 1, Jose's on the Diamondbacks at +143. In the first 5 under 4.5 at -110. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play of the day is the Diamondbacks +140. Dabby Cabs on the Rangers first 5 -0.5, and Bobano's on Eovaldi over 5.5 strikeouts and over 15.5 outs at -118. I'm on Charlotte. I gave that out on Wednesday at +4. It opened up at 5.5. Bobano has it at 5.5, but he's also moved on it here officially at 3.5. This total skyrocketed. Ragu gave out the under 41. It's now at 44. It's wild. So I'm not going to take Florida Atlantic team total under. Bobano's on Utah +7. This is part of his best bets section. He's on the Cal Bears at +11, and I'm very interested in that. I think I'm going to join you guys on that. I'm on the under 66.5. Cabs on USC first half -6 and -110. Then Bobano's on the over 52.5 in Cincinnati, Oklahoma State. He added these spots: West Virginia, UCF over 58, Wyoming +5, UNLV +9, and the over 56.5. Speaking of those spots, DC Capper's on the other side. He's on Florida Atlantic -3.5. He's also on the over, and he likes Rangers money line. Sammy Calmer gave us Magic -2 in the Kings first half -2. And BJ's best bet, he's going heavy on Kings money line, 5 units for our guy BJ. That is our show for today, and that puts a bow on this weekend. Thank you to my guests today, Bobano and LJ from H-Town, but most importantly, thank you guys in the chat. We have nothing without you. Rants, Coin, Mally Mal, Johnny K, Razor Sharp Picks, Ian Shaber, One of One, Benny, Art Nillo, Ramon Scott, Coin, Von Polo, Loyalty Chisel, Andrew G, Polo this, Polo that, Joe Yurkovich, Markel, Johnny K, Regis Austin, the Dapper Capper, BJ. Thank you guys so much. We have absolutely nothing without you. And, you know, you just inspire us, man. And the humor and the angles and everything that you put into the chat. Billy Friedrich, Proof Bets, Perfect Rotation, Saturated, Smith Legacy, Justin McElvey, Nasty Nate, Sky Dragon. Thank you guys. Jake Burns, Max on Record, Proof Bets again. Thank you. All right, that is our show for today and our show for this weekend. Thank you to our producer, Jose Bouquet, for all the hard work you put in. Jose, it means a ton to us. Mikey M, thank you, my man. We have a big weekend here, and it all starts for us with Last Call, 6 p.m. Eastern, our brand new show celebrating our first week. This is the 5th show of the week to put in the books for Mike M. Congratulations on that, Mikey. And we have huge shows on Saturday. We have Saturday Means Football with Nadu and Loshak, and that rolls right into the Oklahoma-Kansas game with C-Mac and Dabby Cab. And then we have off for UFC today or this weekend, but then on Sunday we have our NFL Pub Hub, which rolls into the Chargers Bears game. So we have a huge weekend ahead of us. Thank you all. Dabby Cab, don't forget, Dabby Cab and I's college football best bets is out on our website, on our YouTube page as well. If you get a chance, check that out. Other than that, let's go get that cash. This was extremely enjoyable. I'm so thankful for this opportunity. We've done the work. We haven't placed all the bets yet. Some more bets to place. And then we deal with the consequences and the roller coaster ride that comes attached. Let's make this money. Leche. Hey, those bookmakers. Build that shit. Build that.